What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And together we are last week's album, The Only Reviews, with two different views. And in this episode, we're talking about the new album by Mutual Benefit called Skip a Sinking Stone, and exploring the question, does Mutual Benefit's soft symphony sink or swim on this album? Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Kevin, everyone at home.
Mutual Benefit is the project of singer/multi-instrumentalist Jordan Lee. He grew up in Columbus, Ohio, although he is now based in Boston. And the debut album from Mutual Benefit came out a few years ago called Love's Crushing Diamond. And it was actually one of my personal sort of surprise favorites at the time it came out. So that makes this the sophomore album. Let's talk about what it sounds like. Derek, what do you think?
Kevin, I think Mutual Benefit sounds like Fleet Foxes Get Drunk on Iron and Wine and Bright Eyes.
Yeah. Could hear those. I think it sounds like Sufjan Stevens and Devendra Banhart ride a pack of Fleet Foxes through the clouds.
Nice. I hear all those as well.
Okay, let's talk about some highlights from the album. Derek, what did you like in particular?
I thought Mutual Benefit had a lot of earthy sounds, but at the same time, he does a great job of creating loud, soft contrasts. And one of the early tracks, Skipping Stones, I thought really well exemplified this. It starts with a simple piano and male-female vocals, some distant vocal ooze, and then really grows to large group vocals, pounding piano, and orchestral strings.
Yeah, on that note, I actually agree. I think he mixes these sort of symphonic sounds really well, but it's also got this sort of low-key, woodsy vibe. So it kind of sounds and feels a little bit highbrow, but still very welcoming. A lot of times I think symphony bands or orchestral stuff can sound a little too smart for its own good, but I think he does a good job of keeping it sort of down to earth and, to your point, earthy and kind of woodsy.
Another one to me, Lost Dreamers. This one had a soft swing, orchestral strings, acoustic guitar, kind of this subtle galloping percussion. There was kind of this falling xylophone, warm layered vocal melodies, and one of the opening lyrics, which I really liked, and I think this goes to your point of being welcoming. He says, let's take it the long way home. Let's throw away our phones. We can see stars from here. Why would we go back anywhere? Very warm and welcoming, lyrically, and then just through the sound. The harmonies almost remind me of the Beach Boys to some degree.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this song is the epitome of the Mutual Benefit sort of signature sound, at least as I know it. Classic Mutual Benefit, if you can call it that after two albums. But I also enjoy, I think on other parts of the album, he starts to push his sound a little bit further in other directions. For example, Not For Nothing, he gets a little more jangly than I've heard Mutual Benefit sound before. And then actually kind of spooky on the track Many Returns. So, I like that he's sticking to, I think, what he does really, really well. But I like that he's also starting to color outside the lines a little bit. The last sort of highlight for me, just in contrast to the first record, Love's Crushing Diamond, that one was only 7 tracks. I loved it, but it ended too soon, and I wished there were, 3 or 4 more tracks. This one, on the other hand, feels a lot more complete and full. So I enjoyed that as well. Let's move on to Lowlights. Was there anything you didn't think worked well, Derek?
One thing, the song structures overall seem to kind of lack variety throughout the album. It all seemed a lot of like stream of conscious type stuff, hints at maybe of a chorus, but just kind of structure overall just didn't seem to venture far off the path, if you will, to kind of continue our earthy themes here.
I was listening for a little more variety, just in overall sound and vibe and instrumentation. I think some of these songs start to sort of blur together, especially the strings, I think, and guitars and pianos that started to come in on every single track. And I think it would add more variety if maybe there were, fewer of those here and there.
I thought he at least used those same instruments to kind of create different sounds. So to me, there was a little bit of variety there.
All right, let's move into overall rating and answering the big question. Does Mutual Benefit's soft symphony sink or swim on Skip a Sinking Stone? That's a tongue twister. What do you think, Derek?
Kevin, overall, I really like the earthy, warm sound here. The broad instrumentation, I really like the orchestral strings, diverse percussion, trumpet, and layered vocals. I thought all interacted well. It did kind of sound a little too similar at times. So while I really enjoyed this, I don't know if it's going to be lasting or fleeting. So I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5.
Right on. We'll agree for the most part. Does it sink or swim? I would say it floats really well. I don't think there are any obvious huge misses or missteps, so it's definitely not a sinker overall. Like I mentioned earlier, I think he might do a little better to not use every instrument on every song. But overall, I think it's a solid step forward in his discography, and I think Jordan Lee is getting better and better at refining and refreshing the Mutual Benefit sound. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 as well. That makes for a 6 out of 10 from both Derek and myself for Mutual Benefit's Skip a Sinking Stone. So definitely check out this record and let us know what you think about it. We'd love to hear it. And thanks for watching or listening. Don't forget to subscribe to us here at Last Week's Album. And as always, I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you next time.